Hi, and welcome to Copyright Clarity. During this presentation, we will learn some basics about copyright law and how it affects you. First, we hear the term copyright all the time, but what does it really mean? Why do we even care about it, and how do we know if something is protected by copyright law? After we learn the basics, we will talk about different levels of copyright protection, including fair use and something called Creative Commons. Let's get started. What is copyright? According to the U.S. Copyright Department, copyright protects original works of authorship under the law. This allows the original creator to determine exclusively how their work is used. This includes copies, performances, distribution, and creating other works based on the original. That means if you create something original, you get to control how anyone else uses it. What can be copyrighted? Copyrights fall into several categories. Some you might be familiar with are literary works like the Harry Potter series, musical works like the songs you probably downloaded this weekend, and motion pictures such as Iron Man or Indiana Jones. Copyright also covers dramatic works such as plays, pantomimes, and choreographic works. Pictorial, graphic, and sculptural works, and sound recordings and architectural works such as blueprints are also included. Keep in mind that these are broad categories and may include many different types of works. Some things that are not protected by copyright are slogans, symbols and designs, listing of ingredients, ideas, procedures, and information that is common property like a calendar. Who can claim copyright? The author of the original work immediately has copyright when the work is in a fixed form. Fixed form means that it can be communicated with the aid of a machine or device. If you are hired by a company to create something, the employer, your boss, owns the copyright. You also don't have to be an adult to claim copyright. Minors can claim copyright too. Once you have copyright, how long will it last? If the work was created after January 1st, 1978, copyright is good for the author's life plus 70 years after their death. For companies, the term is 95 years from publication date or 120 years from creation. That's a long time. Works created before January 1st, 1978 had a term of 28 years and could be renewed for a total of 75 years. Okay, is that enough to make your head spin? Well, let's talk now about fair use and Creative Commons. Fair use gives users some access to copyrighted material whether the owner agrees or not, but the courts look at 4 factors when determining fair use. They look at the purpose of the work. Is it changed significantly? Is it being used for commercial or non-commercial use? The nature of the work. Is it factual or creative? The amount used, is it a small part or a significant amount? And the effect on the market, will this work affect the original's value? There are fair use guidelines also for teachers and students, which allow portions of motion media, text, music, and photographs to be used within the classroom setting for educational purposes. As an educator, it is important to understand the guidelines and limitations when designing curriculum. Many distance educators were pleased when the TEACH Act became law in 2002. This act loosened the requirements for distance education as long as certain criteria were met. Many of the rights allowed in face-to-face classrooms are available for distance educators under this act. The educational institution must be nonprofit and accredited and have a published copyright use policy and training for all its users and creators. Creative Commons does not replace copyright, but allows authors to determine what level of access people have to their work, from all rights reserved to some rights reserved. There are 6 different licenses available with varying degrees of restriction. Attribution, which means that you must give credit to the original author. Attribution share-alike, you must give credit and you must share in the same way as the original. Attribution non-commercial, you must give credit and you cannot profit. Attribution non-commercial share-alike, which means you must give credit, cannot profit, and you must share in the same way as the original. Attribution no derivative, you must give credit and you cannot make changes. And attribution non-commercial no derivative, you must give credit, you cannot profit, and you must not make changes. Creative Commons also provides users with a clear understanding of their legal rights when using media. While this presentation cannot cover all the details of the law, hopefully it has helped to clarify the rules of copyright, fair use, and Creative Commons. I am sure as technology continues to evolve, so will the law. As educators, we need to remain current and even become advocates for greater flexibility in the educational setting. For more information on this topic, go to www.copyright.gov or creativecommons.org.